So for the beginning, I presented all my components. Here we can see my breadboard. We can see my diodes. We can see my LEDs. I have big and small LEDs. I want to see which one I could use first. I use the small ones and I use the big ones to make it more visible. Then you have my capacitors. I have all my resistors, my wires. I didn't use jumper cables just to make it easier, to make it look better, to make it look more like cleaner. And here are my wires of different length. Here are my conducting wires that I'll put in my battery. So here's my first checkpoint. I did the beginning of my circuit with what you can see on the diagram with some capacitors, the wires, and some resistors. Next, for my other checkpoint, it's the same thing pretty much. I just added some more wires to make just to put everything in place, to put all my capacitors and my diodes and I put also my timer there. So now I'm just placing a resistor avec mes pinces. I'm placing a resistor to be able to connect to one of my LEDs. And you can see here that I have my diode placed, I have my wires, I have my timer, and I have my counter with my capacitors, which are all placed and in business to be able to work with my current. And here I'm just placing one of my resistors in the breadboard to be able to connect to one of my LEDs as indicated in my diagram. And so after, I'll just need to place my two LEDs, my two red LEDs, and then I'll be ready. So next, this is my welding, le soudage, j'ai utilisé le soudage pour permettre de conduire l'électricité entre mes fils pour mettre sur la plug. So here I just showed a little like my first checkpoint, my first try with electricity with a normal battery. And you see that I use small LEDs just as my first try. And I have a problem where the yellow and green are at the same time. And so I had to take off a diode to make it not at the same time, because then the circuit wasn't going to function properly. So after my first try, I had you can see here my chip and everything, took my energy converter that I wrote to convert my 9 volts into 5 volts. And so here I have my circuit in motion, where I have my two red LEDs, which are working at the same time for like the traffic light, and then my green LED, which will be activated because of the timer. And next I have my yellow light that will be activated in about 2 seconds right now, and then I have my red lights will be reactivated. And here I put my little my circuit diagram in with that completed. So this is for the artistic part, where I create a box, a light box, and right now I'm just tracing a line to be able to cut inside and to stick my breadboard inside to make it not move and to make it rigid and be able to stand on itself. And so I'm just making lines around the breadboard to be able to use hot glue to then stick some components to make it stick in place. Well, not stick in place, just be in place while activated. So this is where I'm drawing, and now I have my orange things glued on, and I'm just opening my parts for my LEDs to be placed in. So here's my last checkpoint, where I have my circuit in my box ready to roll. So now I just made a little fun after I have my box which I painted in black to make it seem more like a traffic light. And here I've just put some fun little toy cars. I make them advance because it's green, and then I'm gonna make them stop when it's red. So here I just made it fun at the end to explain my whole concept, which I spray painted my box in black to make it seem more realistic and more real life. So here was my time lapse of all the work and the checkpoints for my traffic light patrolling system.